Good morning, everybody. Today I'm going to talk about how the research and development team electromagnetic hypnotized mind control victims in their sleeps to commit crimes or horrific acts without their knowledge. I'm going to start out with Isaiah 41:10. Fear thou not, for I am with thee. Be not dismayed, for I am thy God. I will strengthen thee. Yeah, I will help thee. Yeah, I will uphold thee with the right hand of my righteousness. I still have that video about the implants coming out, but it's going to take me a while, so very good information, though. This information is very good, and the information I'm sharing right here is very good. It's just going to be a quicker video, and I really hasn't been filling up to doing the implant video, but I'm going to do it. It's just going to take like an hour or two to do it. Okay, how the DoD research and development team electromagnetically hypnotized mind control victims in their sleep to commit crimes or horrific acts without their knowledge. The only possible way of determining whether or not a subject will commit a murder or some other horrific act while under hypnotism is literally to have him or her commit one. Of course, this sleep hypnotism doesn't work on everyone, and there's only a 1 in 5 chance sleep hypnotism will be successful with most mind control victims. And my phone just started ringing, but you know what? I had it turned off. So the 1 in 5 individual can be hypnotized against his or her will, and with women representing higher success than men. And as they tend to dissociate easier given right brain left differences in women and men. The standard way to produce hypnotism with the mind control technologies is where the operator is using chatterbox, special language AI software. Talk sleeps the victim, who relaxes into a semiconscious state after being targeted with theta waves and goes into a trance-lucid state, talking in his or her sleep and answering questions. Then they place the mind control victim in a high state of relaxed subconscious with chatterbox programming, psychic driving such as the dream manipulation, neurolinguistic programming. Hence, they're able to walk the victim into a hypnotic dissociative state while forcing him to talk sleep over and over in a looping pattern. Then they make the test of somnambulism, or deep hypnotism to determine if the victim will talk back to them in his or her sleep without awakening. If this does not succeed, the mind control victim wakes up completely, in which case they simply repeat the experiment, increasing the frequency and amplitude of the stream of energy as needed, knocking the victim into a deep sleep or trance-like state. If they succeed, the victim belongs to the 1 in 5 club, and the victim is just as truly hypnotized by any other method by desynchronizing, depatterning, or depatterning the victim's brain with trauma, and then by resynchronizing it with a fabricated falsified stream of electromagnetic energy. By use of the post-hypnotic suggestion, utilizing chatterbox software, thought and memory interface programming, they talk sleep the victim through his or her instructions, such as by saying, after you wake up, I will tap 3 times on the table with my pencil. You will then have an irresistible urge to take off your shirt. All right, let me stop right there. So they made me sleepwalk and put broccoli in a plastic container in the oven, and luckily I didn't turn it on. And my girlfriend said, "What are you looking? What, you just told me you were looking for vegetables in your sleep last night." Well, 2 days later, I go to open the oven to put something in there, and there's a plastic thing of broccoli in there. Well, if I'd have turned that oven on, boom. I don't know how the broccoli got there. I don't remember putting it in there. I don't remember telling her I was looking for vegetables. But if I would have turned that plastic thing on with the broccoli, it would have burned. Okay, so let me read in programming. They talk sleep the victim through his or her instructions, such as by saying, after you wake up, I will tap 3 times on the table with my pencil. Then you have to irresistible impulse, take off your shirt. The next trick, trance, is just as easy, and the victim has no idea that it is the pencil or some other trigger which just pitched him into action or access sequence. Once a person has become accustomed to hypnotism, has been repeatedly hypnotized, it becomes very easy for any operator to throw him or her into this hypnotic trance. The electromagnetic hypnotism is based on the cognitive warfare. So the operatives plug this gap by hypnotic suggestions in the somnambulistic state, which means the victim will have no idea he or she was just hypnotized by triggers as to engage in some act. So then they wake up the next day. And sit down next to the mind control victim at work, school, church, and start talking about, say, the latest boxing match. When the operator handler taps 3 times on the pad with his pencil, instantly the mind control victim closes his eyes and he falls into sound sleep or into a trance-like state and is pitched into whatever action sequence the handler wishes, such as go here and do this or say that, including taking off one shirt. While in the trance, the victim, say, he sees a black dog come into the room. He feels the dog go to the telephone and tells its owner to come get the black dog. The dog, of course, is purely imaginary, and the victim has no idea he has just taken off his clothes. Then they straighten him out between 2 chairs and sit on his naked chest while he recites poetry. Then, while the dog recites poetry, while she recites poetry, then they wake him up. Then they straighten him out between 2 chairs and sit. Okay, hold on. Then they wake him up. He immediately starts talking about that boxing match. A visitor to the library walks up to the table and interrupts her and tells her to please interrupts him and tells him to please put his shirt back on, and he has no idea what happened or why he is half naked. An example of this is girlfriend of Dr. John Hall, who was brutally raped each night, confirmed by doctors, by people who were breaking into her home who were actually government informant provocateurs. Each time they would lock the door behind them after they had rearranged her furniture to amplify psychological trauma. No one could figure out how they were getting in and out, as she had brought the latest alarm system and deadbolted her doors, windows, etc., turning her home into a small fortress. So Dr. John Hall secretly planted cameras into the apartment of his fiancée to try and determine how the perps were getting in and out, doing this to her each night. To his horror, he discovered she was being hypnotized in her sleep to get up and unlock the door for perpetrators to come in and do this to her each night. And like I said, that's how they do it. So it's all programming in your sleep. And there's a 1 in 5 club, is what he's saying. And just wanted, because I messaged a friend who's got a lot of knowledge about this, and I said, well, look, I'm doing things in my sleep and not remembering them, and it's getting pretty serious. And that's what he messaged me on how they do it. So I really want to repeat this again because I felt like this was a boring video, but it was very informative, really. I mean, can be hypnotized against his will. 1 in 5 can be hypnotized against his will. Where standard way to produce hypnotism is where the operator uses chatterbox, special language AI software, sleeps the victim, who relaxes into a semiconscious state after being targeted with theta waves and goes into a trance-lucid state, talking in his sleep and answering questions. They place the mind control victim into the high state of relaxed semiconscious with chatterbox programming, psychic driving, such as dream modulation, neurolinguistic programming. Hence, they're able to walk the victim into a hypnotic dissociative state while forcing him to talk sleep over and over in a looping pattern. Then they make the test of somnambulism, determining the victim will talk back to him in his sleep. If this does not succeed, the mind control victim wakes up completely, in which case they simply repeat the experiment, increasing the frequency and amplitude stream of energy as needed, knocking the victim out into a deep sleep or trance state. If they succeed, the victim belongs to the 1 in 5 club, and the victim is just as truly hypnotized by any other method. By desynchronizing, depatterning the victim's brain with trauma, and then by resynchronizing it with a falsified stream of electromagnetic energy. And then they use post-hypnotic suggestion utilizing chatterbox software, thought and memory interface programming. They sleep the victim through his or her instructions. So they'll do a trigger like, okay, I'll tap something 3 times, and then boom. So the next day when the victim wakes up and he's out in public, they'll send a perp and boom, they'll tap or something in that command that they programmed into sleep, the person will carry out. So I hope that explains stuff better. Like I said, this implant video is very good, especially for old TIs who's wondering what's going on with them. I need to get to that. I've just been very, very exhausted. I hadn't felt like doing it. So I'm trying to think of what else before I go. So yeah, so I'm convinced that that's why when I close my eyes to go to sleep, I get shocked and electrocuted because they have this going on too. Not shocked and vibrating, and my head heats up because they have me programming me in my sleep. So anyway, God bless everybody. All TIs. Y'all have a good day.